Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about if Greece, is it really worth the hype or is it a little overrated? So let's get into it. First off, I want to talk about my entire trip itinerary regarding my Greece leg of my trip to Europe this summer. So you might have seen this on my channel, you might have not seen this on my channel already, but I do actually have a video documenting my entire Europe trip this summer. It is definitely a long video, however, I divided up the entire thing into chapters, so the thing will probably pop up here or here. I'm not sure how it does it, but it'll be one of these. So whichever one this is, you can check it out if you'd like. So what exactly happened when I was in Greece? Well, I arrived in Athens at 10 a.m. and my ferry to Mykonos didn't depart until 5 p.m. and I had a lot of time to kill. Thankfully, I actually had a really cool taxi driver that offered to give me a tour around Athens, and he even gave me a free lunch. How sweet of him, right? And that was really cool because I got to see Athens even though I had no intention to, so I got to see if I really should have spent more time there. And to me, it wasn't very exciting. It was cool because I've never been to Greece before and it was a whole new country, but I'm like, all right, I definitely am glad I didn't really spend too much time here. It was cool to see, but been there, done that kind of thing. So then I finally get on my ferry to Mykonos, and I make my way to my hotel, which is in an area called Little Venice, which is in Mykonos town. And this is the hotel that you saw me show in the video. It is a stunning room. If you're wondering what the hotel is called, it is called Bluetopia Suites. The hotel has 4 suites in the whole hotel, and it has an unbelievable view of the water as well as the windmills, and of course, a beautiful sunset, because what is a Greek island in the summer without a beautiful sunset? So I get to the hotel and I'm blown away immediately, and that night I was just so tired. I ended up getting a gyro where I didn't actually film it because I was just so tired. I wish I would have filmed it because it was so good. And then the next day, I explored the town for a little bit, and again, I really wanted to soak in everything, so unfortunately I didn't get any videos. I got out of a lot of beautiful pictures though. I'll insert probably one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken of it here. Back to what I was saying, I get to explore the town a little bit, and then the night falls, and that's when I realized that the nightlife in Mykonos is unbelievable. The nightlife over here starts, I would say, around 12 in the morning and ends around 6 or 7 a.m. Yes, you heard me correctly. People party till 7 a.m. Now, for people that know Ibiza, it's not a surprise to you, but it was definitely a shocker for me, especially because I'm in Tampa, where in the US, you cannot legally serve alcohol after 3 a.m. So I had a couple of drinks that night, I had a very good dinner, and I think as well a really good lunch. And then the next day I rented the boat, and that's where I went on a different side of the island called Ornos. This is on the east side, and I was on the west side, and the east side is considered the not as developed or beautiful part of the island, and they were right. However, it was still absolutely just, I was gonna say beautiful and stunning, but it's both of those. It's unreal how beautiful the scenery is there. I ate at a beautiful restaurant called Pasagi, which was right next to the beach. And when I mean right next to the beach, I mean next to the beach. Like, my table was here and the sand was here. And I was thinking about renting out a chair actually, but it was 100 euros, and I'm like, well, considering I was on a boat for 5 hours and I'm eating next to the chair, I don't really see the need for it. So I didn't end up doing it. And then also my phone was dying. So throughout this entire trip, I didn't get a lot on film because of my phone was always dying. I had an iPhone 12 Pro, and it would just not do well with the battery life situation. Now I'm filming this on my new 14 Pro Max, which the camera quality is a lot better, the video quality is amazing, and on top of that, the battery life is better since it's a larger phone with a larger battery. And I wish I would have had this phone when I was in Greece, because I feel like it would last longer and I would have been able to take more videos and pictures, but oh well. So the question, is Greece worth the hype? Well, let's first talk about Mykonos first. Mykonos is not an authentic Greek island at all. Mykonos is as touristy as it gets. It is a place that people go to just because of how touristy it is. It is very beautiful, and also to experience the nightlife, which is unbelievable. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind. If you're looking for an authentic experience, don't go to Mykonos, because all the Greeks don't go there. The only reason why they go there is to work the summer season. Then they leave. Mykonos is incredibly expensive. Everything's expensive. This meal that I had, the water bottle was $7, since you cannot drink the tap water on any of the Greek islands. It's not safe to drink. This particular meal that I also had was a ridiculous 25 euros. On average, the food in Mykonos would be around 25 euros, and then with the water, probably around 30. Now, what is good in Europe is you don't tip unless if you really want to, but it's not like how it is in the US, which I prefer, because I think the fact that people make money off of tips alone is not a very good thing, but that's a whole different topic for a whole different video. Let me give you a context of how expensive this island was. All of the hotels that I was looking at in Mykonos town were a minimum, or if you wanted a decent one that wasn't a hostel, you're looking at like at least above 400 euros a night. Now, on the not as developed part of the islands, you're looking at 250 for a beautiful room. But I wanted to be in a good location, and I unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I have a difficult time being in a communal place like a hostel. I really do need my own space, and so I was willing to spend the extra money on an actual hotel room. So then I want to get into actually how much this costs. My hotel room was an eye-watering $565 a night, and I think I stayed there for 3 nights. So yeah, it was over $1,500 just to stay in that hotel. And that beautiful breakfast, even though it was the best breakfast I think I've ever had in a hotel, that's a lot of money. This was the most expensive hotel I stayed in throughout the entirety of my stay. However, it was 100% worth the money because it was a beautiful room. The view was incredible. I didn't need to go to a specific place to watch the sunset. I could just watch the sunset from my balcony. They gave me free wine, of course, a free breakfast, and the room had a Sonos speakers so I could play music and just relax on my balcony and listen to the water. It was truly unbelievable. The only thing I maybe wish I had was a private hot tub. I mean, a hot tub would be nice, but I mean, life could be worse, right? No, in all seriousness though, unbelievable hotel room. It was exactly what I was looking for, and I was very appreciative that I had the funds to be able to afford to to stay in a beautiful hotel room such as that. Let's move on to the second leg, which is Santorini, which we have to talk about because Santorini is unbelievable. One of my friends I was chatting with when he found out I was going to Greece about where I was going, and he said that he absolutely loves Santorini. And he's like, oh, when are you going to Santorini? And I said, tomorrow. This is when we were chatting about this. And he said, if you think Mykonos is beautiful, wait until you see Santorini. And I'm like, is it that much more beautiful? He's like, yeah. It's not even a contest. I'm like, okay. Well, if he's saying that Santorini is that much more beautiful, I have quite high expectations. And those expectations, when I first got there, were quite disappointed. I got there to the port, and there wasn't much to see. I mean, yes, we did go over the island and I got to see the beautiful Mediterranean Sea, but I wasn't seeing what you see pictures and videos of, and so I was a little confused. And I took a taxi, but it was actually a bus. I was supposed to be picked up by a person, a driver, to my Airbnb because the host of my Airbnb said it includes like a service to and from the Airbnb. No, I think to the Airbnb. So I said, okay, great. Blah, 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 like what's the driver's name? And then no response because apparently they were sleeping and I was trying to figure out where the hell my driver was. Nope. So I had to hop in a cab, which ended up being a bus, so fine. The issue was I specifically remember telling them where I was going to be dropped off, but for whatever reason, they did put me on some other list. This was very confusing. And my stop was actually one of the first few stops in the town of Thera, but I got taken across the entirety of the island and it took about an hour. And I was the last person on the bus, and he was like very confused and a little upset with me, and I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like to myself, that's on your end, not mine, that you didn't write my thing down even though I gave it to you. But I finally got to my Airbnb, which was definitely not as nice as my hotel in Mykonos. And I mean, but considering it was 109 euros a night instead of 565, you know, there's definitely a difference. But what I was so thankful for was the location of this. I was so thankful that I had the ability to stay in a reasonable Airbnb by myself and be less than 500 feet from the unbelievable scenery. So near my Airbnb, again, I just was like, this isn't exactly what I envisioned Greece to look like. I got there and I just didn't really see anything. For context, where I was staying, I was very close to the McDonald's, the only one on the whole island. So that should be pretty easy to search up. So then finally, after settling in my room, I leave my room and I walk up towards past the McDonald's, and I'm like, where is the view that everyone's talking about? And then I see the view for the first time ever. My jaw was on the floor. I out loud said, holy shit. Now keep in mind, I was by myself, and there were some people around me, and they all like looked at me. And like they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And I'm like in my head, look at this view. Like, have you not seen anything this beautiful before? And probably in their head they're like, well, yeah, we've seen this because we're on vacation here. But anyways, I saw the view for the first time and I was speechless. And like, I'm very rarely speechless, but it was indescribable. You see so many pictures and videos online and nothing does it justice. Absolutely nothing. I was almost in tears because I just was so taken aback by the scenery. It was absolutely incredible. So then I eat at this restaurant around 4 o'clock because of the whole situation with my ferry, as well as the confusion with the car situation, and I needed to find a charger that worked with the wall. I was eating very late. However, I had a view of Thera, and it was absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, there was a power line blocking it slightly. Oh, big whoop, right? But it was still absolutely beautiful. Now, this is where the tourism side of this island is very different to Mykonos, because in Mykonos, I feel like the crowd there is very, 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 very wealthy people, right? And every single one of them is impeccably dressed and has super expensive clothes on. And you compare this to Santorini, where you have people that are clearly American tourists, and then you have people from, you know, Asia and rest of Europe, as well as Africa and all these different places, and they're all in this particular island for obvious reasons. So again, like Mykonos, Santorini is a very touristy island, and you are not going to be looking for a very authentic experience here. I had amazing chats with a lot of Greek people who are working on this island, and I got to tell them all my stories about America and all their stories about, you know, what it's like in Greece. And it was very interesting to interact with them. And they even told me, they're like, Spencer, this is not an authentic island. Like, if you actually are curious about authentic places, well, I actually forgot. Again, you could probably search some places online, and then once people find out about those places, then they'll become touristy. So I guess that's good logic there. No, I'm just kidding. So let's get back into my itinerary. After that, I was absolutely exhausted. I was exploring the entirety of Thera. I started walking, and all these beautiful shots that you're seeing from my video that are inserted in here were mostly hotels and restaurants. And so if you weren't staying at these hotels, you couldn't quite explore all the different areas of the town, because they were all blocked off or restricted. So it was a little unfortunate, and it was a little too bad because I couldn't quite enjoy it because I was very restricted. But it was still beautiful, and every single hotel was obviously focused on the view, and they had these sick rooms with like jacuzzis and stuff like that. And I was like, maybe should I have spent the money on the Santorini hotel or the Mykonos one? But I was happy with my decision to get the one in Mykonos and not Santorini, because I feel like if you get a cool room in Santorini, that's kind of one that you should probably share with either some friends or a significant other, not as much by yourself. After that, I was absolutely exhausted, so I took a nap in my Airbnb because that was just such a long day. And so then I wake up and take a cab to the town of Ia, which is on a completely different part of the island. Thera, I would say, is where everything is happening. However, Oia is a lot quieter and, in my opinion, even more beautiful. When people think of a Greek sunset, Oia is exactly what you're thinking of. This particular shot here is featured all over the internet in photographs and probably some art as well. It was unbelievable. I was so nervous that I wasn't going to catch the sunset, and I was like running through the town, crowds of people. I was like, I hope I can get this sunset. And so then I finally climbed to the top of a rock where everyone was sitting. I forgot the name of it, but it was so beautiful. And then I finally see the view for the first time with the sunset, and I was speechless. It brought out so many emotions that were going through my head in that moment. It was quite powerful, and I don't know how to describe it. I was speechless in Thera, but then when I saw this, I could not put into words how beautiful it was. The words that I could say about it, besides incredible, beautiful, and gorgeous, would be, I wish every single person I had a good relationship with, friends, acquaintances, or family, I wish they were with me right now looking at this view, because it was truly unbelievable. And I'm like, people really need to truly see this before they die. It's unbelievable. I could talk about this all day long, but it's that beautiful. And I think that's the main reason why people go to Santorini in the first place, including Greeks, because it's beautiful. And it is, even though it's very overcrowded, and especially during the summertime, and it is very expensive like Mykonos, it has a reason to be, because it is truly one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. So then I take a cab back that night after getting some dinner, and I woke up the next day quite late, and the only thing I really did was my catamaran tour. This catamaran tour was a lot of fun. This tour was actually supposed to be at sunset, and so now that it actually was closer to sunset, this was great. It was 15 people on this catamaran, 15 people on the catamaran. There was another catamaran cruise that had 50 people that was, I think, 40 euros cheaper, and I'm like, no thank you. I like the more intimate 15 people, because then you can truly make some fun, good relationships and friendships on this boat. This was truly fantastic. I think the catamaran tour was about $184, worth every single penny. Not only did the views be absolutely incredible, but we had free beer, wine, unlimited cocktails, and then they even made fresh food on the boat for us. It was incredible. And then, of course, the sunset. The sunset, the sunset, the sunset. I could not believe what I was seeing. And don't get me wrong, in Florida, where I live, the sunset is absolutely beautiful. Let me show you. The sun's starting to set now, and it's quite beautiful. However, it is not on the same level as Santorini. Santorini was unbelievable, and I was buzzed when I started seeing the sunset, and I was just having the best time ever, and it was truly incredible. That was pretty much it for my Santorini leg of my Greek side leg of my Europe trip. And if anyone has any other questions about this, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or Snapchat. I feel like I documented a good amount on my video, but I just think I wanted to go more in depth about it, because a lot of people do ask this question in general, and I feel like that I could at least give my experience in Greece, and you can decide if Greece is for you or if it's not. So I would like to personally thank every single one of you all for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next video.